You can't expect to go online and see videos of people actually saying good things. They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna be no reaction videos that give it up and be like, man, you know what? I really enjoyed the life. Yo, you know what? I really enjoyed him on Shay Shay. I really enjoyed him on, Breakfast Club.
Reaction videos? What is he talking about? We got smoke out here. Well, it seems like our last series of videos got back to Andrew and Charlamagne. I had a feeling they had actually seen the reaction video I did when Andrew was making jokes about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. Everybody ain't out here playing. I hope Andrew knows that now.
This is like multiple.
Crazy.
So to me, that person, I don't blame Kendrick. We can't control what our fans do. But that person, I go, you're talking about my kid, man. Like,
and about what he would do to Kendrick Lamar if they were in a jail cell together. You remember that? The reason I remember is because they were kind of subbing before, and now they're being more outright now that the special that I predicted that Andrew was promoting is out. Andrew's Netflix special, Life, premiered on Netflix on March 4th. I knew he was a bit too anxious to jump at this Kendrick Lamar thing and inject himself into the lyrics of Kendrick Lamar to hopefully get a PR boost from it. But let's listen to what they had to say, because I know y'all might be thinking this is a long shot, but I'm telling you, people see stuff on the internet, and with over 150,000 views, I'm pretty sure they're well aware of who they're talking about. So let's take a listen.
But that's always the best reply.
yeah.
Because here's the thing, no matter how much somebody doesn't like you, there's always a tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of other people who do.
Man.
And that's the best.
It felt good.
But I was telling shows before we started the pod, it's like, you can have a show, right? Like The Life is out. The Life was, number 2 on Netflix?
Yeah, we were number 2.
Congratulations.
On Netflix, and then we were the number 1 comedy special in the world.
Yes.
And then we were top 5 in the world of all TV. So not just US.
Okay, talk your shit.
But like, that shit was crazy. Like, that was insane.
So when you do that, and then you do all of the great press that you're doing, you can't expect to go online and see videos of people actually saying good things. They're not gonna do that. There's not gonna be no reaction videos that give it up and be like, man, you know what? I really enjoyed the life. Yo, you know what? I really enjoyed him on Shay Shay. I really enjoyed him on, Breakfast Club.
Reaction videos? What is he talking about? What is he talking about here? What you getting at, Charlamagne?
They're not going to do that.
There's no money in that.
No.
There's no views in that.
No.
Get your money, yo. Get your money, man. As long as you're talking about me, we're good.
And that's all.
As long as you talk about me, I'm not talking about you, we are good.
Because the algorithm don't know the...
You're talking about us. You're talking about the reaction channels, right? Oh, okay. It gets deeper.
Difference.
They really don't. They really do. And low key, all I got to do is bring people back to the special. And then once you watch the special, you make your decisions up right there.
Hate watch.
Hey.
Yo, people always
haters pay the same price of admission.
Howard Stern said that a long time ago. There was a study that shows people who didn't like Howard Stern watched like 3 times as much than people who actually did.
So what's don't like? Because it sounds like you really like
haters. Cat Williams said it a long time ago. Hate is just confused admiration. Ooh. It's okay. It's okay.
And you know what? Prophets let people convert.
That's right.
Okay. So now we getting into my territory. We do something here called dropping bombs. Now we know Funkmaster Flex, DJ Clue, New York DJs originated the bomb sound, but who really used the bomb sound in these reaction videos? Who is the originator of that? And why would they put a bomb sound right there in the video if they weren't trying to reference something that happened before, that happened prior?
That's right.
It's so weak to say that everything is hate. Criticism of anything that you do or anything that you say, and of course that joke being far the line, that does not equal hate. That's the simplest, take on this. Like, not taking criticism, not taking accountability. You just assume if somebody's talking about you, they're hating on you because it doesn't make you feel good. No, criticism is something totally different than hate. There you have it. Bombs are being dropped on a podcast where I've never particularly heard them dropping bombs. You know what I'm saying? It confirms what my suspicion was months ago as to how this message was getting to them and how they were feeling about it, how they're receiving it. But just receive, because this is criticism that you need. I promise you, this is criticism that you need.
That's right. What was your favorite one? Like, what did you learn?
Oh God!
Because you're a podcast host too.
So this is the thing. Like, honestly, I'm learning so much about I never cared to be famous. Like, I knew being famous would be a byproduct of my goals with comedy, which is to be like the greatest, right? So, but I never cared to be famous. So I never tried to learn what it was to be famous or that kind of thing. So I didn't realize how offensive you have to be with fame.
Explain.
Like, the second your name garners views, people will use your name to get views and make a living and react to your stuff or whatever like that. Like, obviously we know there's so much reaction content out right now. And
here they go.
And there's another thing just about reaction content in general. It's it's very popular. It is what it is. It's very popular. But and then once you get to a certain amount of followers and a certain amount of success, people will use your name for those views. And that's part of being successful. You have to pay the cost of that. But
it's so hard. It's the burden. It's the cross you have to bear. Your success. Andrew, we gonna get into that too. I'm gonna let the clip rock out.
The reaction to that was just I'm just gonna ignore it and keep on putting out art. Yes, but also you also gotta snipe when it's ready to snipe, and you also gotta take exact shots. And you don't have to talk about the people. You could sub the people so you're not actually saying their name.
Subs are so good.
Oh, and then hit those.
There was a time I didn't used to like subs, but
subbing? Who you subbing? Who y'all subbing? That's what I want to know.
Subs are so
it's almost better because then they come screaming. You're like, what are you talking about?
The subs I like is when you're not even subbing a person, but the person. And by the way, they should do that. If I was a person who had a podcast about podcasts, or I was a person who did reaction videos, even if I wasn't subbing that person directly, I would take the clip and say that person's talking about me.
Oh, and they will.
Why not?
But you are talking about me. I would take the clip and talk. He's explaining. This is media training. I will give it to him. This is slick. When you're mad about something, but you don't want to appear mad about it, so you make it seem like, oh, these people are just punching the wind. They're just punching the air. They're swinging wildly. Come on. We know y'all sensitive. You could be honest about that. That's one of the compliments I'll give to Andrew Schulz's special, is that he was actually vulnerable and admitted that he was having issues. We're going to get into that.
100%.
It don't hurt.
100%.
Because the 3,000 people that watch those individuals will be like, yo.
For that specific reason, that's another reason why.
3,000 people? Try 150,000.
I don't want to make it about the Kendrick thing, but I didn't respond to the Kendrick thing for 2 weeks until I got confirmation. Because before I'm not going to go say response. I don't even know if it's about me. Then once I get some confirmation, I go, okay, whatever. We feel a little bit more confident.
Bro, you're promoting a special. It's okay.
Exactly.
We don't got to.
And he used it to promote a special. They just admitted they used it to promote the special.
A response. I don't even know if it's about me. Then once I get some confirmation, I go, okay, whatever. We feel a little bit more confident.
Bro, you're promoting a special. It's okay.
Exactly.
I know Andrew's doing a comedy special right now, and he might want to get some attention, garner some attention. They say all press is good press, so why not attach yourself into this Kendrick and Drake beef, this battle, some kind of way? So maybe he didn't think it all the way through.
Why are we complicating this? Somebody said that to me the other day. They were talking about we were talking about Stephen A. Smith, and they were saying how Stephen A. Smith is going on this press tour for LeBron, and they was like, Andrew's still talking about Kendrick, whatever. I'm like, why not?
Well, they're asking me.
And that's what I said.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, when Stephen A's going on these platforms, they're asking him. When Andrew's going on these platforms, they're asking Andrew. But why wouldn't you?
So here's the thing.
And by the way, you're talking about two of the greatest goats of all time in their field.
Right, of
course. You got LeBron in the NBA.
Kendrick.
Why wouldn't Stephen A talk 100%. About it? You got Kendrick in rap. Why wouldn't people ask you about it? Why wouldn't you talk about it?
Every single person can ask me 100%. Okay, so what I was saying about like being offensive, right? So knowing when you got to like take shots at certain people and like squash certain narratives. And me, for the most part, I kind of just ignored it. I was like, I'm just going to keep on putting out great shit and think that's what it is. That only works for your core fans. The casuals really only consume the hate.
They only know you from that. Somebody might only know you from that.
They only know you for the hate. So you almost have empathy for their perspective on you because all they know is a headline and like a line that you say out of context, right? And I'm that way with people. That's how I think of Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle could be the nicest woman on the planet. I only know a headline and something she says out of context, and I'm like, what a raging bruh.
Jesus Christ!
See, I don't know.
That's why. See, that's why they don't like you.
No, I'm calling myself out. I'm calling myself out.
They're gonna take the clip, and all you're gonna hear is Andrew Schulz calls Meghan Markle a raging B word.
Damn, bro.
God damn.
What the hell is wrong with me?
I understand what you're trying to explain, but shit.
So, and then here's another thing I realized, right? So it's like I brought all these like I try to bring all these different people on my podcast, right? And I'm like, one, because I'm really curious about different people and I want to know their perspectives. And then there's another part of it where it's like I want people to know that about me, that I am curious in all these different perspectives, right? Casuals don't listen to your pod.
No.
They only consume what hits their airwaves.
This sounds like an excuse. This sounds like an excuse for a stream of consciousness thought in a podcast that gets clipped out and now you have to stand on it. You know, this is the thing about being a comedian. You want to say what you want to say, but then you don't want to take responsibility when it doesn't go your way. What part of the game is that? See, you can't rehash it after the fact. And that's what Andrew gets wrong here. So when you go out and you say this thing about Kendrick Lamar and you're like, oh, it was part of a 2-hour podcast, you all don't have the context. What context is there to that? See, you want to say freedom of speech is not freedom of consequences, you know, and consequences in this case is the criticism that's coming back at you. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to have that kind of shit hitting you from every direction where you feel like you got to look over your shoulder. That's where we're at with this. And Andrew is being dishonest when he doesn't admit that.
So I realized when I was going to all these different pods, like the best conversations are the ones where that person thinks I am one way and then we get to discuss it. Because what you think of me, if you're just like reading headlines and that kind of stuff, you find out is quite different once we sit down and have a conversation.
And then they get mad because they like you. Then they get mad because they feel like they actually understand you. But what you said
that's the difference, sorry to cut you, between like for example, when Shannon's putting out clips on the internet, it's the casuals that already think a way about me or attach themselves to the clip. And then you look at the episode and the reactions are completely different because it's people actually listening to the conversation and getting this like holistic view. So now I realize like,
well, what you need to understand about that is that the casuals, as you're referring to them, are the majority. That's what you don't get. Your specialized, brilliant idiots audience or flagrant audience isn't the norm. And the fact that they're laughing with you and joking with you and you think everything's cool does not mean that writ large, this is a cool thing to do. You understand? That's kind of why the Kendrick thing gets interpreted the way it did.
I got to go out there and I got to do more of these pods. I got to do other people's stuff. But I'm the last year, I'm like, I'm busy. I'm touring. I'm doing pods and I'm a dad. So where's this time?
I enjoy doing anything. I go to Breakfast Club every day. You know why? Because I enjoy doing that. Because whatever's happening in that room is a good faith conversation.
That shit was fun, bro.
I love doing Brilliant Idiots because whatever's happening here is a good faith conversation.
Yeah.
Like these are people that I talk to all the time. Me, Schulz, Chris, Taylor. Like that's actually what gets you in trouble.
Bro, what is?
When you're just too comfortable.
Yeah.
It's the best entertainment.
Because you start getting loose and you stop being protective of what you say. And then once you're really being loose, what you say can be, set out of context. But in retrospect, like I'm thinking about all these things, like when Ryan Clark put out that like 10-minute like soliloquy on me.
You gotta go on the pivot, Joe.
No, that's immediately. I'm like, I should have immediately been like, all right, let's discuss it.
Let's go on the pivot.
Because you have a lot of opinions on me. Why don't we have a conversation about those opinions?
Yeah.
Like I should go.
Did they reach out?
You know what's funny? It's like they had, I think Shahidi is involved in it, and
Who the fuck is that?
I think he's the guy who he runs Nelk and he runs a few other pods. So he was asking me way early on, but since then, no, they haven't. But absolutely.
Only reason I said that because I've heard you mention him. I heard you mentioned him on Breakfast Club. You mentioned him on Shay Shay.
Yeah.
I think
I want to go. I
think you and Ryan would have a fantastic conversation.
That might be interesting. I actually am going to cover one of the Pivot videos hopefully soon here with Anthony Mackie. It was a great interview. I don't watch the Pivot often, but you know, I've seen them, what they're doing over there. They're doing their thing. But the fact that he was critical of you for this Kendrick joke, like you had to know that there was something wrong. This is about not reading the room. So as many people sit here and tell you this, you know, you want to discount us because we're reacting. Like when 90% of media is reaction, it's a reaction to something that came before. So that's what I don't understand about why people don't get reaction channels. They don't understand what it is being a content creator and having it. It's and I laugh because they think it's a lack of talent, but you're gonna see how much talent I got.
It's the same thing that we do with every one of these people. It's like, of course, we're going to have a good conversation because I'm not there to make you look stupid. I'm going to listen to what you have to say. Like, I'm going to give you, when you make good points, I'm never going to discredit the good point that you make.
The Pivot is one of my favorite podcasts. That is a place, we got to start saying that more. That is a place where good faith conversations happen.
There we go.
There's not a lot of platforms nowadays that are having good faith conversations. People are either doing things for ratings or they're setting, you know, this conflict shit up because for views and likes and things. Who's having good faith conversations? We should start talking about those platforms more.
100%.
The Pivot with, you know, Channing and Fred and Ryan, they always have good faith conversations, which is why a lot of men go on there and be so vulnerable.
Because they feel safe.
Yes.
I like that. Like, and that's the other thing, which like, I
don't know if you'd be safe over there, Andrew. I don't know. You said too much wild stuff. They're going to call you out. And this is what I'm talking about. Accountability. When you sit down in a place like the Pivot, you're going to have to face some accountability. You're going to have to face the account. Even in the Anthony Mackie interview, they asked some questions over there that I never thought that Anthony would get asked. And he had to answer them. Are you ready for that, Andrew? I wonder.
I guess I should have been more forthcoming with it. I guess there's this part of me that's like, I'm like, if you want to talk about me in this situation, like just message me, like call me. You can get in touch with me through you. Like it's so easy to get in contact with me.
That's so Hollywood. Just message me. We could have talked about this before you went out there and said something publicly. No, people that say that are trying to avoid any type of conversation for real. And when you do get in touch with them, it's, I'm too busy. Let me see if the schedule permits.
So when there isn't that effort to get in contact with me, I'm like, oh, you guys are just going after clout. Because you could talk to me and I would come on your pod and I would talk to you. There's not a person I won't sit down and talk to.
Yeah.
If they've built something. If you're just like a random person, like with a TikTok account, just like bickering, you haven't built something to justify the conversation. If you're someone who's built something, I admire that. If you're putting things out every single week and you're willing to be judged by the world, I admire that.
It's noticeable. I mean, listen, here's the thing. You're only going to talk about somebody you respect. I'm not going to let your name come out of my mouth if I don't respect you.
I said that. I said that on Shannon. I think that they're really good.
Yeah.
So that's why you sub people. You've been subbing Joe Budden for how long without mentioning his name? I think I just saw something this week of Charlamagne talking trash about Joe Budden. It's crazy, man. Y'all need to figure that out too. Like, that's just ridiculous. There's no reason. Y'all don't have no reason to be at odds the way you are other than competition. And that looks weak. That just looks weak.
Like, I compliment it. I said this about Kendrick too. Like, I admire people who put out art to be judged. That's a vulnerable, scary thing to do.
Yeah.
I admire that. Like, do I disagree on certain things? Yeah. But I still admire, if you're a reaction channel, most of you have never put out something to be judged. You don't know.
You think so? Boy, if you only knew, man. That's the thing. They think that us YouTubers and reaction channels exist in some type of vacuum, like Like the fact that we're doing this right now means that we could never do anything else, or we never did anything else in our lives previous. There was stuff that happened before YouTube, and there'll be stuff that happens after YouTube. This just happens to be a vehicle right now to get to the next place. What's so hard to understand about that? And this disrespect for reaction channels it's going to have to stop. The only thing that's going to make them stop is when we get to millions of subscribers, and then they're going to have to deal with us. They really got to deal with us now, but right now they feel like they can still brush us off because we're not in the mainstream some kind of way, when the mainstream is coming to where we are and having to start over. You understand that? They don't get it.
You know what it's like to work really hard on something, give it out there to the world, for them to hate it or love it. That's a vulnerable, scary thing. You just hate things.
I was thinking about that the other day. Me and Ak was having a conversation, and I was thinking about, like, why don't I respect the...
Oh yeah, why don't they call academics a reaction channel? Oh, I got respect for Ak. Why? Because, like I said, he's got the numbers over there and millions of dollars some kind of way. I guess Ak is different. These people are so inconsistent, man.
And I was thinking about, like, why don't I respect the reaction channels anymore? I used to enjoy them for entertainment, and that was what the reason was.
There's no vulnerability in it.
Not only is there no vulnerability in it, yeah. You know why we love First Take? You know why we love, like, we'll watch Fox Sports? Yeah. Because they'll have people on there who've actually either played the game or been so involved in the game that you respect what they're saying. It's a reason that, like...
See, I'm going to need them to think harder about these topics. You know, they do just shoot off the cuff, and we've been letting that kind of go for years. But when it really comes down to it, like, put some thought into it. You acting like these people aren't putting something out into the world just because the label reaction channel. Now, would you say the same thing about all the other podcasts that now do reaction content? Yeah, because we peeped you. We noticed. We noticed that a lot of channels are now doing topics and current events. They're getting clips from the internet, just like reaction channels. And you think that happened in a vacuum? You think you're doing that on purpose? This podcast in particular does the same thing. So it would seem that reaction videos have changed what you're doing. Probably more than you've changed what they're doing. That's why I say you gotta put some thought into this. I mean, you know.
A podcast like the R&B Money podcast with Tank and Jay Valentine works. Yeah. Because Tank was an R&B star. Jay Valentine's a producer or writer. Like, they've had actual success. So when they talk about the game in the industry, you listen. And that's why when they, like the L.A. Reid, Smokey Robinson's go on there and have conversations, it's a different vulnerability they have with those guys because they respect them and what they've done. The reason, like, you know, you watch some of these reaction channels or you know, watch some of these podcasts about podcasts, you like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And you haven't even had the success of any of the people that you're talking about.
And you haven't even felt the judgment when you do put yourself.
Neither has Rachel Maddow, but she's always saying something about somebody. So your point is, again, and this is somebody that has a over 20-year career in radio and media. This is what I'm saying. These are unintelligent thoughts about this topic. And unfortunately, I don't know if the reaction channels might be the more intelligent people. We're not the brilliant idiots, obviously, who roll up to a podcast and everybody's produced everything for you. And you just sit there and talk shit for an hour and a half and it gets millions of views, right? Now, I will give Andrew credit on stand-up. You actually have to go in and write and perform, tour it, and make the act better. Of course, we respect comedians. That's kind of why I'm here, is because, you know, I'm a fan of comedy. You know what I'm saying?
Self out there. Like, it's a very comfortable, like, low risk position to just shit on things. It is the lowest risk.
It's low risk, high reward.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all reaction channels do now, is just shit on things. This is the perception. This is ridiculous. How can you, with a straight face, say that when you all do the exact same thing? Even Twitter, to a certain extent. When y'all were on Twitter all those years ago and you just cracking jokes on everything, like, is that any different than what is going on now on reaction channels? No. You're mad because people have figured out a way to comment on things and make a way out of no way. There's not a gatekeeper in front of us. And unfortunately, that's been the problem for so long in entertainment, is that the gatekeepers were stopping talented people or holding them off until they couldn't hold off anymore. My career is a perfect example of that. But we'll talk about that at another time. We'll talk about my qualifications at another time.
It hits.
That's why everybody does it. It's the easiest form of content. I'm going to sit down and people are going to try hard on things and I'm going to shit on them when they fail. Yeah. And I'll never congratulate them when they succeed.
No.
Because there's no money in it.
You should thank us. Yeah. When y'all succeed.
They never congratulate you. Well, I'm going to congratulate you, Andrew Schulz. The special was good. It was actually good. It was still full of the borderline cringe humor that Andrew Schulz is known for, but this one is a little different. It explored he and his wife's IVF journey. And you see, I like how comedians nowadays are being a little more vulnerable, like a Neil Brennan. They're examining deeply personal journeys on stage, and it was those parts that might push Andrew Schulz's life into Emmy or Grammy Award territory. I'm being serious here because it kind of has those moments of serious and comedy, and you have some emotion there. That's what I'm saying. He's examining something that happened to him personally. That's where some of the best comedy is birthed from. Of course, there are other things in the special that are just downright like, why are you talking about that? Why are you doing this long on this particular subject? But like I said, Andrew, I'm not letting you off the hook just yet, because going back to the moment where you did the joke about Kendrick Lamar and the backlash that you got, particularly from Black content creators and like you said, people from the pivot. The reason people responded to you as forcefully as they did, even Corey Holcomb had something to say about it. The reason is in the beginning of your special, you coming out to Hustler's Ambition by 50 Cent, a song that samples Frankie Beverly and Maye's I Need You. In the beginning of this special, it don't get much blacker than that. And see, that's what we're seeing here. Forgive us that accepted you into the proverbial cookout, for lack of a better term, for just expecting a little more care when it comes to certain topics that refer to Black people. Now, we can all take a joke, obviously. Like you said, your jokes are equal opportunity, right? You want to be able to say what you want to say to all groups of people. But when you have come in, and as we see here, traded on the fact of your relationship with Charlamagne the God, which I personally see as mutually beneficial, because Charlamagne also used you for a little more mainstream acceptance. I will say that. But from relative obscurity, you hooked up with Charlamagne at MTV. Your foundation was a Black audience. And I just wish in my heart of hearts that one white comedian, white artist, white musician, white singer, white rapper would not throw the Black community away after they get to where they're going. To use up all the cultural capital and proximity to Blackness that you do, and then lurch for mainstream acceptance. So as I said, the special's good. And it's got that emotional underpinning, like I said, that is award season bait. Every year a comedian usually has to hang it up because Dave Chappelle wins all the awards, right? But this year, Dave Chappelle doesn't have a special out, but at least not so far. And that's what I'm saying. This actually has a possibility of being that type of Golden Globe winning special, just because of the subject matter, what you're talking about. And I want people to go and watch it on their own and make their own assumption, because there's a lot of laughs in there. But I want to make sure that I want to make sure that you bring that with you. I want to make sure that you understand that is what made you. That is what buoyed you in this industry from the beginning, pretty much. So I'm not saying this as this is something you have to do, but as someone with morals and conscience, and supposedly you have Black friends and all this stuff that you talk about, we want to see that in action. We don't want to see you making jokes about buck breaking somebody in jail just because you want to promote your special because you feel like somebody was talking about you because a hit dog hollered in a Kendrick Lamar verse. That's the place we're at right now. And I hope you understand that, Andrew Schulz. Like, it's content, right? It's all content. But when it comes down to it, you really have to understand what got you there. And I want you to make a difference, not to vanilla ice the culture, to get it successful, get mainstream acceptance, and then stop your yo language and turn into a rock musician. You know what I'm saying? But either way, I'm not going to belabor the point, but you get what I'm saying here. Anyway, let me know what you all thinking about it in the comments of this reaction video. This low effort reaction video, the easiest kind of content reaction video. Put it in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. If you want to watch more, please watch one of these videos down below. Make sure you sign up to my streaming service, Faucette Media Direct. The link is in the description. More content over there, stuff you can't find on YouTube. This is Faucette Media.